Well, you missed the news with Roland, but now you have the two of us with the review of the newspapers. Plus, what's trending will go across the world. We'll go online as well in
definitely.
Ghana to find out what the online portals are talking about. But shall we begin?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's begin with the Daily Graphic.
Definitely. Front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. We will set up research fund. President says at UPSA congregation. And I'll tell you, somebody special who was honored at this congregation. But on the front page of the paper, you find President Akufo-Addo in a handshake congratulating Nana Opoku-Ampoma, founder of UPSA, after he was honored with a doctorate degree in Accra. Picture by Samuel Tay Adano on the front page of the paper. So that's the founder of UPSA. Full story on page 3. President Akufo-Addo says the government has committed itself to establish a research fund for the sole purpose of funding relevant and certain specific research works in tertiary institutions. The fund, he said, which would be in addition to the book and research allowance, was part of the effort by the government to deal with the problem of funding tertiary education. Okay, so details of that in the paper today. There's a lot of background to the story. Also on the front page of the graphic, engage social partners for homegrown solutions to development, organized labor tax governments. And then 6 armed robbers jailed 118 years. That story is on page 16. Definitely a story of interest. We go to page 16 in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Story says 6 armed robbers, including an 18-year-old hairdresser, have been sentenced to a total of 118 years imprisonment by the Kumasi Circuit Court for attacking a fuel station in Kumasi and bolting with 11,200 Ghana cedis. The convicts, Kate Apia, hairdresser, Emmanuel Ampabeng, 34, Kofi Jima, 32, Kofi Nti, 30, Kwajo Wusu, who is also 30, and Richard Kwabena Chire, 28. They were slapped with the jail terms after they were convicted on 2 counts of conspiracy to rob and robbery. So along with this story, they've got the facts of the story in here, but you see the five of the convicts who have been displayed in the story. So they've got their pictures here as well. I'll tell you about the sentencing. They got 25-year jail terms each. Well, one of them or 2 will each serve 20 years in prison. Kate Apia, the hairdresser, was given 3 years on the basis that she was a young offender. You heard it?
And how old was she?
Kate. No, they didn't give her age. They just said Kate Apia, hairdresser. But the guys involved, they gave their ages. So, but Kate's actually on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper.
Kate, the young offender is the one they put on the front page.
Yeah, that's the one on the front page of the paper.
The young offender, rather.
She's not there. They are not suspects any longer. They are convicts.
Yeah, they are convicts.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Into Yatra.
Yatra, be careful.
Of protecting their...
Yeah, try to be
careful. Now it's a public issue.
Yeah, try to be careful. Center spread of the Daily Graphic. Bank of Ghana calls for cooperation in Basel II and III implementation. New strategy to deepen financial inclusion. And on the back page of the graphic, 100 MW, that's megawatts ocean power plant to be constructed at Adam. Ghanaian renewable energy company TC Energy has signed a $200 million agreement with Sea-based, a Swedish technology developer, for the construction of a 100 megawatts ocean wave power plant off the coast of Adan in the Greater Accra region. So the project, according to the story, the first of its kind in the country, will utilize ocean wave resources in Ghana to generate power suitable for grid use. Wow. Okay, let's see if this actually is something that hits the ground running. You know what they say. I think it will be good to see how this is done and how it works and how it benefits us, really.
Yeah.
Also on the back page, GRA to impound on custom vehicles. So the Ghana Revenue Authority is to embark on a nationwide operation to impound uncustomed vehicles, dubbed the anti-car smuggling operation. The exercise, which is expected to begin next week, will see the deployment of customs officials to garages, some major roads, and the various customs checkpoints throughout the country to seize vehicles that were illegally imported into the country. In an interview in Accra last Tuesday, the head of the Public Education and Media Relations Unit at the GRA, Johnson Yankee, said it was unlawful to own a vehicle without the payment of appropriate import duties on it. So just a note of caution, they will find you anyway. If you're driving a vehicle that you smuggled into the country, you haven't paid the necessary dues on that vehicle, you know what to do. Otherwise, they would seize your car. You know what happens when your car is seized and you don't have the necessary document to prove that indeed you've passed the test. Somebody else will buy it at perhaps way cheaper price than you would have sold it for. So do the right thing before your car is seized. That operation is beginning next week. The GRA is really serious on this. So that's it for the Daily Graphic. There are other stories that might interest you in the paper, by the way, Roland.
All right, so we have the Ghanaian Times. It has on the front page, new research fund for varsities as government moves to support relevant specific studies. And we know that this also had occupied the front page of the Daily Graphic. So we'll move on as we look at Malam Junction Road to be diverted on Monday. That will be next week, Monday.
Malam?
Yes, Malam Junction Road.
What's happening?
Apparently, there's supposed to be this... is it the drain, or I think we talked about it yesterday. That story is on page 15. Let me just go to page 15 and critically take a look at what the story is indicating. And basically says that work on the 500-meter double cell culvert drain at Malam Junction, Accra, will commence on Monday, April 30, 2017. And so it's going to be a combination of open and closed drain to collect more rainwater. And the 6 million Ghana cedi World Bank funded project being implemented by the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources will address perennial flooding in Accra. The project is expected to be completed in 50 days. Gabriel
So why are they doing it now?
What are they doing now? When the rains are about?
Yeah, because it will be completed in 50 days. 50 days is almost 2 months.
Yeah, and means we'll be having it during the rainy season.
And even with the 50 days, I mean, there could be unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, so they could have done it perhaps maybe from January to.
Hey,
but you know that these are abroad. They went to KNUST engineering schools abroad. So sometimes maybe they know better. Africans.
Don't go there, please. Finish it.
We go there.
Finish
we
it.
do this.
We don't need what you're coming to say.
You see,
because I would totally disagree with you. So
it says an anti-human trafficking police in Kumasi have held 2 social workers, Samuel Obinge and Elvie Jemima Langia, for questioning of allegation of faking the death of a day-old baby and selling her for just 15 or 16,500 Ghana cedis.
I don't even have a problem with whether or not the money is small, but you can't sell a human being.
Yeah,
you can't sell a human being. But it's just where they sit as social workers and the fact that a vulnerable person comes to you for help, and this is what you do in the end. I think it's still under investigations, right?
Yeah, still under investigations.
Yeah. But yesterday, Julian Obeng, who speaks for the Ashanti Region Police, gave details of that. And I think it's horrifying. I mean,
yes, it is.
Shame.
And we've had, I think, I don't know whether constant reports, but consistent reports about some of these things over the years. Yeah. Not only by the social welfare officers, but even by maybe so-called nurses and matrons at various public hospitals.
I think the people at the center of it, sometimes they believe the fake stories that they tell them. So in this situation, you give birth, and then she tells you that your baby has a certain condition, so they have to transfer the baby to another hospital, and then another time she tells you, oh, your baby died. And depending on who is being communicated to in this way, sometimes you can sit back and say, oh, but this is Kwekwanasi's story, I won't take it. But I tell you what, find yourself in a vulnerable situation in a certain circumstance, and you can accept some of these excuses. I mean, depending on how you also understand some of these things. So you can't blame the woman at the center of this. Sometimes these people, oh Charlie, but you can't be a social welfare. You can't be there and be doing this.
No.
It's so wrong. It's just like being a police officer and beating people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just like the role that you play, the position where you sit as a social worker, it doesn't simply allow you to do that.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
True. Mahama killers trial begins with 7-member jury. So we also have 2 Nigerian robbers busted.
Okay, so you know the Major Mahama, the jury that's been finally formed. They were back and forth with it. So we'll have Joseph Akable, who is our court correspondent. He'll tell us what this means and how we're proceeding from here and what to expect.
Oh, great!
In the trial as well in the coming days.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
You're through?
Yeah,
Center
I
spread?
think I'm through.
I didn't see you go to the center spread.
Yeah. Okay. Center spread of the news one. Pull out. Oh, Moisha generalizes again in CNS full interview.
Oh my God.
And DKB joins Hits FM with a new show. It's called Free Your Mind. It's on every Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, so it was on yesterday then?
Yeah.
Oh,
it should.
Okay.
Meek Mill, we brought this to you yesterday on EM Showbiz from prison.
Yeah.
And then we have OD4 returns to showbiz as actor. And I remember this guy used to sing, OD4.
Yeah. I think Mark used to be on the Slip record.
Oh, okay. Slip music.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Mark used to manage him, right?
Marco Kreko.
Am I getting it wrong? Maybe, maybe not. But there was this lady. I think they did a collabo together way back. Dennis would know. Dennis Thompson, our soundman, will know.
Okay. I know that he worked with Okrasini and some of those.
It's a lady almost like a dancehall artist or something, you know.
Back in the day.
Where all them people?
Yeah, just mid-2000s, early 2000s, etc. We all good, don't we? Mami Dokono Jabs Moisha Budong of artificial body. And those are the stories we have on Mavic.
Let's follow that up with the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Front page of the Daily Dispatch. Kweku Baku on president staff figures over the years. Both NPP and NDC have been hypocritical and inconsistent. And then Dr. Obeda Samoa is also writing on Professor K.A. Buzia. That era, you can read about it in the Daily Dispatch newspaper. There's a U.S. 2017 Human Rights Report on Ghana. That story is on page 5 in the Daily Dispatch newspaper of today. And it's a continuation from yesterday, so you can read all about it in the paper. Let's do the business finder next. The finder turning business on Thursday. So business finder. Killer rents hits Accra. That story is on page 2. On remittances, Ghana backs $2.2 billion, places second in sub-Saharan Africa. Story says that Ghana backed $2.2 billion from remittances in 2017 from a total of $38.4 billion that sub-Saharan Africa recorded, according to the World Bank's Migration and Development Brief. She was joined second with Senegal, which also earned $2.2 billion from remittances last year. The largest remittance recipient was Nigeria, with remittances of $21.9 billion. Remittances to sub-Saharan Africa accelerated 11.4% to $38 billion in 2017. They give you the figure for Kenya. Kenya is standing at some 2.0, followed by Uganda 1.4, Mali is 1.0, and South Africa $900 million. So placed third, fourth, fifth, and sixth respectively. And this is just what can be accounted for. Can you imagine the ones that my sister or a kukumlimli into now $200, yeah, man. Those ones you can't account for, but these are the ones that pass through the proper channels that you can lay your hands on the records. It's interesting. A lot of money coming in to Ghana from people who are based outside the country. Republic Bank here to stay. Also another story. Let's look at the rent issue. It's always been our headache. It says rents of properties, particularly in Accra and its environs, cannot match income levels of many Ghanaians. Investigations by the Business Finder have revealed. And what could be described as killer rents, many Ghanaians that this paper spoke to describe the trend as worrying. They contended that if the situation continued as it is, many people would relocate out of Accra to the hinterlands. So the high demand for houses has compelled many house owners to take advantage and charge exorbitant rents on their properties, whether in good state or not. So they give us some figures as well. The latest inflation figures for March 2018, and then they match that with the trends. So here's what I'm going to ask. Taking advance monies beyond a certain month, but we have people charging for 2 years and 3 years and sometimes 5 years. Ridiculous.
Terrible.
Yet we have a law.
That's how landlords, because you stay in their homes, they develop this familiar relationship with you. They don't want you to perhaps prey on that or utilize that adequately. So they'll tell you they are in no position, they don't want to renew your rent. So you are forced to pack out. Immediately you pack out, they've increased the rent astronomically, somebody else comes in. And that's a problem we have. Well,
I remember somebody doing that to me, and I said to myself, may you get a wicked tenant, like may you get somebody who will match you.
Was that supposed to be a curse? It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Because
you could have been a terrible
said, and we had a very nice relationship. And then she said, "Oh, she was selling the house, Charlie."
She will say that, and then immediately you move.
Like
you see that somebody else is
buy the house.
Immediately you move. You see 2 months and somebody else.
Yeah, no. She was actually renting it, and she had increased the rent. And I was like, shame on you.
And she couldn't come to confront you and the rest of the family. Oh, Charlie, I did increase the rent.
No. But we must also say, not boxing all landlords together. There are some who are amazing. Some people look beyond the money. They are looking for good families or good people to live in their homes. People who can maintain the facility.
True. You have said it.
So you can send us messages if you have anything that you want to comment on.
What are some of your experiences with your landlord or with renting a facility, and some of the quotations that have been given to you that you thought were way out of not only your league but the market league? How you find yourself, the category of living standards you find yourself. I think some renting could be one of the most arduous, especially even finding the place to rent. Is even more terrible.
True.
And I, sometimes when you have a family, you have to move them. It's from one place to the other. So sometimes
it could mean changing schools. It could mean you're moving rather very far away from where you work, for instance.
And many people are compelled
inconveniences
to live in the same neighborhood or something just because of some family interest, either schooling or the distance to work, or maybe close to family relations or people they know, so that you don't lose that sort of friendship.
But I don't know if you're a landlord and you're watching us.
Let us know.
Listen.
I know one person who have more views on this, Professor Kofi Bedema, you living whole, you're a retired lecturer, but you're taking your S9, your retirement cooling whole. Give us your views.
That reminds me, my uncle is also retired now, but he had like properties. So what he does now is and he's running it like you'd find it being run in the UK, because he lived there for a very long time. And
so
it's ridiculous. I mean, it's very flexible, and I haven't had anybody living in his house who's been complaining or who has complained. We know that when you're retired like that, you live on what you get from the properties that you've been able to put up over the years. But also think about it. Can you imagine somebody going to get a loan of 60,000 Ghana cedis just so they can pay the advance that you are charging? I mean, consider small. Okay, send us messages. If you've got a message, send it to us. Roland, is there something you want us to listen to?
Yeah, so
let's read some of your messages and we'll go
definitely.
online to myjoyonline.com. Let's read WhatsApp messages. This one says, wonderful. Okay, my name is Mrs. Patricia Opoku Jemfi. I and my children, Lord Opoku Jemfi, Julius Opoku Jemfi, Samuel Opoku Jemfi, and Michael Opoku Jemfi, wish my good husband, Mr. Samuel Opoku Jemfi, aka Yao Nek, happy birthday, which is today. We tell him, may the Lord bless him very much in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. So Mrs. Patricia Opoku Jemfi and the entire family, they're wishing you, Mr. Samuel Opoku Jemfi, aka Yao Nek. It's your birthday today. I remember wishing you a happy birthday yesterday. Enjoy your birthday from your entire family and from us as well. This person, this is a like an inspirational message, but it's a bit long, so I'm not able to share. But Lucas of Abuakwa in Kumasi sending us a message, says, help me celebrate my sweetheart, Patience Mensah of Rose of Sharon Presby Congregation, Santasi Kumasi. It's her birthday today. I want her to know that I love her so much, and I pray that God will grant her heart desire in Jesus' name. It's from A.B. Nanayao Lucas of Abuakwa in Kumasi. And this one says, how serious are we in Ghana, Volta region? But I tell you what, it is too long for me to share. But one that I can is, whenever you feel weak, remember the things that made you strong. Whenever you start to doubt yourself, remember those who believe in you. Stay calm. And it's from Abdullah Abdul Razak, General Lamashugu in Tamale. Every morning you send us a piece of inspiration. Thank you, Roland. MyJoyNews.com.
Okay, so we have MyJoyNews.com. Ghana's debt hits distress levels 3 years in a row, and it says that we've maintained that status as a high-risk debt distress country after first making it onto the list of countries whose debt burdens had reached alarming levels back in 2015, and we've continued that trajectory. So it just means that we've been, because of consistent borrowing since 2015, we've just been declared a debt-ridden country. Let's go to the next one. Timeline history of the rift between Kwesi Nyantakyi and George Afriyie. Okay, previously friends, they are now political foes. We looked at this yesterday extensively. Okay, two Nigerians. Okay, I said Nigerians in the Daily Guide. It's two Nigerians suspected to be robbers in police grips. Police at Amanfrom have arrested two Niger nationals, Malik Bashiru, 32, and Abdul Aziz Tahiru, who is 38, suspected to be armed robbers. African migrants to the U.S. more educated than U.S.-born nationals and migrants in U.K.
This one is just no news. So if you know where you're coming from, and somebody has been able to pay your school fees, or even you yourself, you've worked hard to go to school in America, nobody will tell you to study hard and be smarter than the people you went to meet. So obviously, you look at where you're coming from. Yeah.
I think that sometimes we have to take into consideration the circumstances in which they find themselves.
Master, we are Ghanaians. If I found myself somewhere, Charlie, I for shine. You for shine, because you have to work like 5 times or 10 times more than the ordinary
American,
whose country you're living in.
And I think that's the perspective that we're looking at.
And I think that we do well. I think we do extremely well. And it cuts across the African countries as well, because often these days it's very regular that you find that a Ghanaian or a Nigerian or another African has gotten entry to you know, some of the best schools in America or in the UK.
But even for the migrants, it's the Nigerians who are the most educated with the college degrees at that point.
Yeah. So we know where we're coming from. The only thing is that, Charlie, you know, you can say to people who live outside Ghana, who have really good education and qualification, and they're doing really good, you can say to them that come back and help. But when we look at the system that we're running in some of the countries in Africa, if not all, I don't know, sometimes it takes us, those who live in it, to survive in it.
Yeah, and
we all people who come from outside.
And we all attribute it to the failure of the leadership, or the leadership that we have in their respective countries, including Ghana, the rest of. Because when you travel across the African continent, then you get to see that the way our towns and cities look and the way we live is all the same.
Yeah, well, like
you find haphazard
twin cities,
town planning, structures, scattered billboards, smalls. You know, it's pretty much. You know,
sometimes
we live the same. Open drains.
We're talking about this morning. We're talking this morning about how people will come from the US and the UK, and they will keep changing the pounds and the dollars that they brought. In no time, then they'll ask, hey, but I changed $500, I changed 1,000, and it's gone.
And it's also because at that place, if you have a $500 or $1,000, a lot of money you can use for many things. Yeah. I'm not saying that it can buy you a house, but we're talking about for your daily upkeep. Yeah. It's a lot. And here you spend a lot of money.
And talk about it. He goes way back, involved in certain deals, and they've been looking for him, and now this is where we're told he is now. Let's move on real quick. It's almost like the Jacob Zuma kind of situation. In the Volta region, tension in Botoku over planned installment of Paramount Chief. Where exactly is that? North Dai district in the Volta region. Okay.
Botoku, it's around Pando, those places. Yeah.
Government rejects Indum criticism despite postponing campaign promise to elect DCEs. One of the other almost becoming controversial now.
I think that, to be truthful, the politicians have been dancing around this, and government has danced around this.
Yeah, Obiama will not particularly agree with you.
No, but that is true, because when government came in 2017, if they had wanted to do it, they would have started the process, and you meet a timeline of having DCs registered within a 4-year period. Registered to be candidates and to be elected by their municipal constituents or metropolitan constituents. I mean, we have to be truthful.
I know what they would tell you. They would say that
it's like the right to information law.
The hurdles that you have to cross.
What hurdle?
In reaching this. Yeah, that's what they would say.
You start a process, you do the amendment, you go to a referendum, and then you open it up for people to via, and that's it. Yeah. They are not committed to it. That's the truth.
Well, I'm not sure. We'll have the conversations in the coming days on where we are in the process. But can we say good morning to you, our friend Daniel Kenu? Can you imagine? We kind of forgot about Mr. Kenu.
Is he still in Kumasi?
He is. He should be. With the Daily Graphic newspaper. Good morning to you, Mr. Kenu. We have not forgotten about you. Out of sight is not out of love. Is he
still macho? He used to have a great body.
Okay, so there are a lot of stories on myjoyonline.com that you can catch up with. We thought we'll quickly take you around the world and bring you some other stories around the world. You know, there are... Okay, so WhatsApp is to ban under 16s across Europe. That story is.
But does it work? How would you know somebody is under 16?
That was the question.
Because you know my kids just going to 11 and 9, They send me WhatsApp messages. Not that they have a phone, but through maybe.
Please, can we just correct?
So I keep wondering, how would you know whether somebody is 18 or 16?
So we're told that Facebook will also kick children off unless their parents vouch for them. So these are some changes in laws in Europe. We'll see how that reflects really on the ground. In Kenya, we did mention heavy rains in Kenya. That's also affecting a lot of things. Kenya dams a flood risk after heavy rains. And now we're talking about what could come up in terms, if it was in Ghana, we'll talk cholera, same in Kenya. You talk about diseases that can come up because of the. So you find pictures. You find pictures.
That is simply the same.
We find pictures. Well, some of the responses are quicker.
If they had told you this place is Wager, would you believe it? When the rains come in Wager, would you believe it?
Yeah, but if you look at some of the responses, I mean, the difference really is to listen to the detailed report and how the response has been in some places and the kind of equipment that they use. You get what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so it's still on the flats and people are posting different things on social media. I mean, the chaos that it is creating in some parts of Kenya. You see many stories on that and posts.
So that's the drone going to be used to deliver.
Roland, this is not Ghana. Don't bring that. This is still.
I thought it was Ghana. Drone to deliver aid.
So this is a proper road though, that's been
damaged.
Yeah. And then this is a town. This is a town and how.
But we have to say that these are also all the effects of climate change.
Yeah.
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 Because if you listen to some of the reports, some of the places used not to flood, but now they flood big time. Big time.
And we're told this could go on till June, as in the raining season in there. So we probably should be expecting.
So I think we almost have the same raining pattern, kind of.
Yeah.
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 That's when we are building a drain around Malam.
And
the rainy season.
Roland, I beg, don't start. And then there's Facebook's rise in profits. Users show resilience after scandals. You know, they've been involved in recent scandals, and people thought that it was going to affect their profits. But guess what? Facebook Incorporated shares rose on Wednesday after the social network reported a surprisingly strong 63% rise in profits and an increase in users, with no sign that business was hurt by a scandal over the mishandling of personal data. Some analysts have said, you see the effect of this, maybe not immediately, but you know.
Yeah, just by all the things that they've been saying, Mark Zuckerberg and his team, they really intend to do good work.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just some of these stories making rounds that we thought we would update you on. So now you're updated, but we always do have a lot more news on myjoyonline.com. Benedict is joining us for sports.
Benedict, good morning.
Good morning.
I know you want to talk about Champions League, but before that,
okay.
You remember when we
didn't come alone. He came with the other executive committee members of CAF as well as Ghana Football Association Executive Committee. So yesterday was a very colorful event. The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was also there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, one man was not there. Georgie Free was not there. So, and you all know what's been happening with...
So CAF president is in town.
Yeah.
And
he was
I'm
on
sure
yesterday.
So Nyantichi waited until the CAF president.
He's in the know of what has happened to Georgie Free.
Of course, I'm sure he will know. I mean, Nyantichi is the vice to the CAF president. And obviously, he would tell him things that are going on in his member association here. So I'm sure, obviously, he will know that.
You know, I missed the conversation that you had with Roland. But the question that was on my mind was, I mean, like, what's the regulation that can take somebody like a free year off like that?
Well, the regulation now is that at the last election, which was in 2015, now they changed the rules, which enables the FA president to appoint his vice.
They deliberately changed the rules.
In his capacity as GFA president.
Yeah,
so you're not voting for anybody.
Unlike previously, the vice presidency
used to be voted
for. So the likes of Fred Papo, Fred Krentel, and all those guys were voted for. But with Georgie Free, it was Nyantichi who handpicked him, appointed him. That.
But who mooted that idea to change that elective position to a non-elective one?
Well, it wasn't Nyantichi. It was a member of the association.
But we know that. We know that member will be related to, will be in the Nyantechi camp.
How do you know? I mean, you go for Congress
so you take the person and when you don't like him any longer, you drop him, is that it?
Well, this is how it works. Now, Roland was talking about who mooted that idea. So when you go for Congress and a member should, get up and say, we want this to be done, they have to vote on it.
Yeah.
So they voted, and Nyantechi then appointed George Free as his vice.
Okay.
Now, Nyantechi says he doesn't want to work with George Free again. Before the appointment, when you finish with the appointment, you have to submit the name to executive committee, which is made up of 22 members. And these 22 members will vote on the name. So if they all agree for George to be the vice president, well, George will be. In this instance, where Nyantechi says, okay, well, I don't want to work with the man again based on ABCD, Nyantechi would have to go back to the executive committee, which George Free is also a member of that committee, and tell them that, okay, this is the situation. Maybe he's done this, he's done that, I don't want to work with him again. The executive committee will sit on that issue and will vote on it. If they agree, then fine. If they don't, then it's for the president to see what he will do. But he has the sole responsibility, according to their statutes, to appoint whoever he wants to work with as vice.
Right.
So the talk that is because Efie wants to unseat him, he's got ambitions. Is that it? Is that all there is?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Nyantechi has not come out to say that he's going to contest again.
But you hear things.
Well,
but you tell us.
What have you been hearing?
Well, Nyantechi says he's not going to contest again. He's granted interviews to us, Kumasi, to other media.
So you have it on tape?
Yeah, we have it on tape. He said it on JoyNews.
But it's possible there could be nobody to manage Ghana football apart from Nyantechi at the time that we'll be going for election. So we'll be compelled.
You can't say that probably maybe because George has declared his intentions to contest, that's why Nyantechi has taken this decision.
But his tenure ends not in 2018.
It ends in 2019. Yeah. And the man has told us that he's not going to contest again. Well, he can change his mind.
Joseph Kabila. Yadema. They've all said they won't contest, but they end up
that, well, it's only a fool who does not change his mind. So if tomorrow the man comes to tell us that he has changed his mind and he will contest again, you cannot tell him. Oh, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Oh, legally, yes.
But listen, I don't know. You are interpreting it like it's emphatic.
This guy,
I haven't heard him say emphatically that.
Oh, yeah, he has said that. Oh, he has. Oh, even we played it here.
Okay.
He said it that, well, he feels he's done enough. And for him, you just have to allow somebody else to also take the mantle.
And that somebody else would have been George Free, and he's booted. Oh, sorry.
Executive committee. He brought the person.
Please, I apologize.
Please
apologize, Mr. Kwesi Nyantechi. The executive committee has booted him out.
Yeah. But is Mr. Free not speaking?
Well, no, he's not said anything yet. It was his campaign manager, Jeffrey Free Asari, who we spoke to the last time, and he was talking about how George is not perturbed with this, and he's still going on to contest in 2019.
And George will win.
Well, I don't vote. You don't vote. So.
But you guys should have seen like the fallout coming, right?
Oh, of course. I mean, you definitely will see, looking at the signs. If the person was taken off as Black Stars Management Committee chairman, then you will see.
And when did that happen?
Well, this happened 2 weeks ago. And even with Nyantechi and George Free, it started when that alleged text message George sent to Nyantechi insulting him and saying that he's a wicked, greedy man.
Wow.
And that since he started...
They did that?
Yeah. That was...
Alleged, he said, Roland.
Alleged. That George
but Nyantechi has not confirmed whether...
No, that just... And Nyantechi sometimes confirmed that, oh, well, it's a human institution and they've been having issues and you expect that to happen anywhere. You understand?
Yeah. But I mean, I've had issues with you. I've had issues with Roland.
Absolutely.
We've battled it out a few times, so that's normal.
And it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
So if that happens, and even George...
I think that will be the last one. We'll do that. Then we'll
other members have also been talking about it that, well, I mean, yeah.
Then we'll go for Congress. I'll be removed on the show. But I want to put some logic to this. After that amendment, which now gives the GFA president, and this one we don't want to personalize it, to nominate or choose his own vice, approval, executive committee. It means that the GFA president is the one who said, I don't want my vice, and took it to the executive committee. Is that not it?
Yeah, it could be. Oh. It could be that, listen.
I didn't know it could be.
Okay.
It could be.
Why
we have to just look at the scenarios. Now, it could be that the FA president will say, okay, I'm fed up, based on ABC. Another thing, a member on the executive committee.
So in this instance, what happened? A member of the executive committee.
We're not privy to all the information.
I'm just giving him the scenarios. That it could be that the FA president...
But in this instance, it was a member of the executive committee.
I'm saying that it could be that the FA president We'll tell the executive committee.
So all these are assumptions. Let's talk about something that happened yesterday, which is not an assumption, which is something that is real.
Yeah.
As for GFA politics,
the actions were live.
As for GFA politics,
it's normal. Every day, everywhere.
No,
even our own homes, they are
Songo,
politics.
It happens everywhere. Even when you're home, I'm sure you have.
Masa. This is a different kind of politics. Don't compare that to what happens in our homes.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today, really?
Well, so reactions have been coming in since that the George Free dismissal. We've had an executive committee member told us that for him, he doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's Nyantichi who appointed the man, and if he feels he can't work with him any longer, well, he can just let him go. And
so
also,
you have a soundbite on it?
Yeah, and also the CAF president, yesterday's event at the UPSA, and we definitely will talk about the UEFA Champions League.
Okay.
Last night, what happened? Real Madrid beating Bayern Munich.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to take a little breather. When we come back, Benedict is going to run us through. If you missed because I was in class, so I missed the goals, the 2-1, so I really want to watch it. We're going to activate the phone lines as well, because now we're talking about the finals. Abi, we're talking we're talking about the second leg of this, but we can almost assume,
with the
safely,
way the UEFA Champions League is going this season,
you can't predict?
You can't predict where clubs have come back so strongly in the second legs. You know what happened even with Madrid and Juventus? Juventus went away and won by 3-1. Bayern Munich, they need 2 goals, and that's not beyond them. If they have all their star players fit, yesterday was just unfortunate. They lost Robin and then John Boateng to injuries. But if all these players are fit, they can go to Real Madrid and beat them. Same as Liverpool, Roma. You might think that tie is over. 5-2. Roma finished Barca finished Roma in the first leg 4-1. Roma scored 3-0 and eliminated Barca. This season, Roma beat Chelsea 3-0 at their home ground, and Roma have not conceded a goal in the UEFA Champions League at their home ground. So
anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Okay. So you can't say that Liverpool are in the finals, Real Madrid are in the finals. It's just that Liverpool are in a comfortable position to qualify, same as Real Madrid.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I can safely say that when we get to that point, we'll do what we're very good at as Ghanaians. We'll do the mathematics. Stay with us.